Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fandom Fridays, where I proceed to check out all the fanfics that are not pony related. Why? Because right now I'm a bit of a moral quandary, folks. On the one hand, I have Power Rangers Take Flight, a script format fic that I really want to try. I want to try a new format for another fic and try messing around with it. On the other hand, I just found another Power Rangers fic called Power Rangers Wing Force that's also based off of one of my favorite Sentai, Jetman. I was stuck trying to figure out what I should do. Should I read one and stick to that for a while, or should I read them both? So I decided the best thing to do is just read one this week and read one the next week and see how I feel about the whole thing. What do I feel works best and what I think are really good. So, without further ado, let's start off with Power Rangers Take Flight. Enjoy. Power Rangers Take Flight. Episode 1. Information. Part 1. A space station arrives in orbit. A station that could fit a crew of 50 must continue a space affair towards its underbelly. 1992, Jetman at chorus. A high-tech command center at the heart of a space station. Monitors and instruments line the walls, with men and women in nondescript uniforms of many various stations. Near the center of the curved rear of the monitors controls a larger main fuse screen, which is currently displaying various charts and schematics. All of the tech in the room is advanced, but not impossibly futuristic. Dr. Bering, a woman in her early 30s with flowing brunette hair, stands around a console in the center of the room. She is wearing a formal gray uniform, adorned with several ID badges. She does not wear a wedding ring. The room in the States is calm and apparently routine. I want you to take another look at the gravity ball symmetries. The phase modulation shouldn't account for more than 5% of the output loss. Three at those angles. Yes, ma'am. Now, the backfire issue of the echo blasters. We're isolated to the frontal matrix. We're running a reverb analysis to check for transition errors. My alert tone is heard. An officer at the wall reacts to readings on his monitor. Here's to Dr. Bering hastily. Dr. Bering? Good. Send me to the report before tomorrow's feed. If we need a reset, I want it done then, in transmission. Report. We're picking up an incoming vessel. There's no payload today. Check the flight log. Hawk 1's gyro adjusts. The others are floating in low orbit. Space carriers violently. Several monitors go static. We've been hit! External camera! The officer presses several buttons. One of the monitors switches to an external view of outer space. Something visible on the right side of the screen. The camera pans to the right and focuses on the smallest spacecraft approaching. Its combination of smooth curves and angular points makes the craft appear simultaneously sleek and menacing enough from Earth. Its finish is gunmetal black, but still light reflective enough to be visible against the space background. The craft is several times smaller than the space station and probably contains only a small crew. Dr. Bering reacts with puzzlement and concern. In the monitor, the craft fires a blue laser near the station of the camera. A nearby explosion causes the monitor to go static. At the same time, the station is hit with a second tremor. They're firing on us! Alarms begin to sound. Another officer calls out from the side monitor, where Dr. Bering merely looks. This is a intruder in life support! In another control room, the officer is facing a console with Dr. Bering and officer. Nearby, another officer lies unconscious, while several others flee in panic. Alarm is sounding as well, while several large pipelines in the walls leaking steam. Cameras near officer. Perspective is someone stalking him at distance behind him. Repeat! An intruder life support! We're under attack! The older suddenly looks over his shoulder anxiously. Behind the officer approaches Trask, a sinister male figure in black leather, with what resembles a black leather trench coat. His build is tall and slender with wide shoulders. His face appears human, but his skin is unnaturally pale. His expression is stoic. As he approaches, he extends his hand and protects a funnel-like contortion of green energy, sending the officer flying in bursts of sparks and climbing unconsciously against the wall. Trash inserts another green torrent and an embedded camera on the wall. Detecting Barry's monitor is now static. Barry starts for the exit, but issues an order to officer before leaving. Ready, Hawk 1 for launch! Hawk 1, a red jet craft resembling a hawk, rolls through the hangar nearby launch corridor. Its boosters lit, hurls down a launch corridor, explosives wrapped around it. Landing gear raises as it begins to fly. We then see the end of the launch corridor as Hawk 1 streaks away and banks towards the earth below. Explosives build out of the corridor behind Hawk. Cardboard box being carried upstairs by Luke, a young man in his early 20s. Average height is toned build. His hair is very short. His casual attire is neat, but his outer shirt is dark with red gloves. As Luke totes the relatively weak box upstairs, he passes Lenora on her way downstairs. Lenora is a black woman in her 50s, or early 60s, with peasant for bodily colored outfits. Wearing a wedding ring, as he stops to speak with Luke, he slips the box in his arms without any impatience. His left wrist is what appears to be a black digital wristwatch. It has 4 side buttons and a flat button below the timer sight. Well, hello there! You must be the young man from 5th floor. How do you do? Luke Branston. How do I do? Listen to you. My name's Earl, but you can call me that wild woman in 5A. So, we got one more young college man out on the floor, do we? Poor Steve and I are going to be a dying breed. No, ma'am. Out of the Air Force, actually. Oh, the Air Force! My goodness, did you just get back from overseas? Not that I'm told. Well, alright then. You got Maggie at 5B. She's working on her master's day in and day out, so you probably won't hear a peep out of her. Then there's Pete and Chris at 5D. They're old college buddies, but probably more your style. Although Chris doesn't get out that much. Oh, and then there's Casey at 5C. She is just precious and single deep. Well, anyway, I had to get going. I'll never have any peace of quiet unless I get that man some hamburger buns. I'll never see a man so obsessed with hamburger buns. You know he refused to eat one of my burgers and 2 pieces of bread. I said, bread is bread, but he wouldn't have it. And I said, you can fix your own dinner then. And you know what he made? A sandwich. Can you believe that? A sandwich. Well, it was very nice to meet you. You let us know if you need anything, honey. You'll be waiting for answer from Mr. Monroe to fix anything. My Stevens will whiz that stuff. Thank you. The main hallway is a straight corridor with stairs going up and down at the end of the hall. 4 doors line each side of the hallway, 5A, 5C, 5E, and 5G. On the left side of the hall, facing the floors, while 5B, 5D, 5A, and 5H are on the right side. 5A and B are the closest to the stairs. The opposite end of the hall, past 5A to 5G, the hall takes a turn to the left, or whence are presumably more apartments. Right corridor, past 5G, is a trash chute. Luke comes up to the stairs with a box. Pauses for a moment to look at 5C's door, and sinks his head and continues towards his door, 5F. As he nears the door, he suddenly is bowled over from behind by Barry, a tall, wiry man in his mid to late 20s. His fashion sense seems to date back to the 70s. Luke bumps the left side of his wristwatch into the frame of the door. Barry stumbles, more than Luke, but regains his balance and hands it out. Mr. Luke doesn't drop his box. Whoa. Sorry, man. I wasn't looking where I was going. Hey, have you seen a squirrel around here? Gray hair, about this tall, this wide. And it's got like an orange collar? No, sorry. Oh, okay, forget I said anything. Barry continues down the hall in a hurry, checking the floors as he goes. He heads to the corner at the end of the hallway. Soon reappears and ducks mysteriously to 5G at the right end of the hall. Luke stands holding his box for a moment, dumbfounded, and slips into his apartment. It's a modest-sized studio apartment with a basic couch and a few pieces of furniture. Numerous boxes are stacked everywhere, some unpacked but mostly taped shut. Some books are on a bookshelf, but most of the apartment remains undecorated. Luke is in the small kitchen nearby, which is separated from the living area by a counter. He's unpacking a box of hand-me-down pots and cooking utensils. To the right, perpendicular to the kitchen counter, is a window with curtains shut. He takes out a small wall clock, looking at the time display, then checks his watch. Then he does a little double take as he notices the entire face of the watch is blank sky blue. Luke tests the watch face, but it remains the same. He tries pressing one of the side buttons. Once the sky blue image zips to life, the watch face is actually a camera view, now flying over a large city at breakneck speed. While the sky blue was simply a static view of the sky before moving. Luke is spellbound. The image dives down to a residential area of the city and hurls straight towards the fifth-story window of a bathed, seven-story apartment building. It stands beside a park. It flies almost impeccably. Precisely as the image comes to a sudden stop, practically lens to the window. There's a small tap against the window of Luke's apartment. Luke looks up from the watch towards the living room window. Nothing is visible through the closed curtains. Cocking his head suspiciously, he sets the clock down on the counter and walks into the living room. He approaches the window and places his hand on the curtains and pauses. Then pulls them open, revealing a hoverbird. A round, silver device, so smaller than a ping pong ball. One stripe around its middle. The hoverbird hovers against the glass. A small lens on its front pressed against the glass. Luke studies the machine with fascination. He looks down at his watch face and sees his own image being transmitted from the hoverbird's camera. And this is a hoverbird. It's a remote reconnaissance device linked to your Avimorpher. How do you control it? Luke draws his hand near the watch as the voiceover continues. This button engages the hoverbird's seek mode. Luke presses another side button. The hoverbird zips out of sight, and watch displays the hoverbird's view soaring directly over the city once again. Quickly reaches the edge of town and flies down to a remote quarry, where the view stops suspended several feet above the ground. The camera's angled slightly towards it. Luke studies the image, and then away distantly out the window, lost in thought. There's a knocked door. Luke startles slightly, glances down at his wrist, pulls the sleeve over his Avimorpher. From the view of Luke's visitors, we see Luke's door. Luke opens the door and looks at his visitors. Luke sees Pete and Casey smiling broadly. Pete is a young black man in his early 20s. Average height with a thick build, if not a few extra pounds. He wears a casual, loose-fitting clothes with a yellow theme. I think we just found our Yellow Ranger! Casey is a young woman of mixed descent, also in her early 20s. Shorter than Pete, a slender petite frame. Her hair is dark and shoulder length. She wears fashionable pink and white sportswear appropriate for 1992. And there's our white. Both Pete and Casey are considerably friendly, while Casey is particularly bubbly and enthusiastic.
Hi!
Hey, what's up, man?
Welcome to the building. I'm Casey. This is Pete.
Hi, I'm Luke. Nice to meet you.
Wow, nice place.
Yeah, the boxes in the nest, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Come on in. Pete eyes the books on Luke's bookshelf.
So, are you new to Spring Valley?
No. Well, I grew up at Brighton, so...
Oh, okay.
So, you met Mrs. Patterson? She's a trip, huh? Yeah, and a guy looking for a squirrel?
Oh, Mr. Whiskers must have gotten out again.
That's Barry. He's a pretty good guy. Got a VCR repair shop down the street. Oh, yeah? So, what do you guys do?
Book smart, 4th year running.
I'm a con chef on Franco's 3rd Street. Like, a chef's apprentice.
Oh, come on, Pete. You practically run the place.
Yeah, I don't hear Mr. Franco saying that.
So, Mrs. Patterson said you're a pilot?
Well, I'm not really anything right now. I'm still trying to get some stuff figured out. By raising his hand, Luke exposed the Avimorph on his wrist. The display continues to show the hoverspheres view of the quarry. Whoa, what is that? Pete curiously takes hold of Luke's wrist before Luke can decide what to do. Like a parting gift when you get out of the Air Force? Look at this. Man's got a view screen on his watch. Luke jestingly. What are you, a super spy or something? Easy takes heavily steps towards for a closer look. Whilst he looks a comfortable reaction. Her eyes are then drawn to the Avimorpher. Tilts her head curiously to see the screen.
Isn't that?
What?
Well, it's the quarry south of town. My brothers used to go there to do their dirt bike stuff all the time.
Can you show me where it is?
Sure, I can drive you.
Yeah, alright. This is a little weird and all, but what the heck? 20-minute drive to the middle of nowhere. Dude's got a TV on his watch. Nothing out of the ordinary. Luke shuts the door behind them, keys in hand. The alien's craft is now permanently tied to space seats unless noted. Artificial scorching remains visible on the seats' exterior after the attack. The command center appears similar to its under form. Several modifications appear to have been made on several control panels, using technology more advanced or alien than existing technology. Lighting is dimmer when the command center was originally seen. Although several alert tone is heard, the chimes again continue to repeat every second. The nearby door slides open automatically. No one is seen in the corridor beyond. Seats are turned to the left. Then we see an alien named Dillick peek watchfully from around the corner, intrigued but quite cautious. Dillick is a green and white skinned alien of momentarily holographic features, liking in appearance. He wears a frumpy, loose yellow and orange protective suit with no helmet covering. Glancing around the room, Dillick approaches the central console, striding with impunity. He examines the monitor therein and presses a few buttons. The tone doesn't chime in further. As Dillick studies the monitor, he makes a few adjustments using the control's buttons. A curved silver blade inches towards the front of his face on the right side. As soon as the blade enters the peripheral vision, Dillick stops warily, though not terrified. He sees Trask standing beside Dillick, sword in his right hand, his arm casually extended. The other arm, a slender canister, roughly the size of a small propane tank. When Trask sees, his voice is simple, sinister, simply to the precision of his syllables, and a faint sense of gentleness. Dillick, is the lab on fire? Dillick scratches his head. He speaks, his voice sounds slightly nasal and lacks boldness. Elsa Kingsley stutters a syllable due to the lack of confidence.
No, it's been a couple of weeks since the last time it got on fire.
Then, why aren't you in it? Dillick rambles, gesturing briefly to the control panel, despite the sword still in front of his face.
Oh, well, there was this beaming sound here, so I was going to turn it off because I don't know, like noise or lights or much of anything, really.
Trask stares at him with narrowed eyes. Dillick clears his head and focuses on the monitor in front of him. As his crane his neck to see over Trask's sword.
Oh, but then I found a signal coming from Earth on one of the special frequencies. I was just thinking it might have some of the missing hardware.
His eyes narrowly focused on Dillick. Trask just gazed to the monitor without turning his head. Where? As Dillick leans forward to work on the console, Trask steps aside, lowering his sword, and faces the console more directly. The answer still under his arm. As he lowers the sword, produces an irremovable effect. Dillick taps the sequence of buttons. Close up in the monitor, shows a computer-generated globe of the Earth, rotating to the Western Hemisphere. A red pulse graphic emanates from the Castle, California.
Here, on the edge of this big thing.
Tapping his finger in California.
What do they call it? Bolivia?
California.
Oh yeah, I think I get some who's these not things because...
Trask erupts. He need Dillick the unwieldy canister. As it moves, a thick sloshing sound can be heard inside of it. I want you to send a battalion of nobodies. Dillick takes the canister, which appears much heavier in his arms than Trask. Dillick grunts from the weight and stammers a protest.
But, concealed biomass goes bad in a couple of days, and then you have to go get more. Then there's the wormhole that's like the more important project we ever had according to Lord Osmos.
Trask stares at Dillick.
Why do I just go make some nobodies?
Casey's car, a white 1991 compact convertible with the top down, drives around the isolated road. Wooded passes alternate with Casey rats homes in large open fields, houses growing increasingly sparse. Casey had the wheel of the car, Luke in the passenger seat, and Pete leaned forward from the back seat to participate in the conversation. He had to speak loudly over the sound of the wind in the road. I think this was actually the road where they found me.
Huh? You know the quarry sets up ahead.
Wait, hold up. You're telling us you have, much of your life missing?
Did the Air Force tell you anything?
Well, according to them, I was discharged back in December. But where did flight suit come from? Exactly.
Does any of this look familiar?
I'm not sure. Maybe. But that spot at the quarry, there's something about it. And this was. It's an Avimorpher. A what morpher? Where did you get that from?
I don't know. Well, here's something I found. Luke unfastens the Avi-morphin from his wrist and turns it over. He takes a closer look. Engraved on the metal plate on the back of the device is the word Jetman. Above the number is 1.
Jetman? What does that mean?
Luke shrugs as he prepares to put the Avi-morphin back on.
Oh, I know. Maybe you're like testing some sort of secret rocket backpack for the government and you crash and give you amnesia.
Who the heck are those guys? Casey slows the car suddenly as Luke and Pete get back ranch nearby. Luke's Avi-morphin drops to the floorboard at his feet. At the ranch, a farmer who's 50 scrambles to get away from 6 humanoid figures in black. Nobodies. Their heads are black and featureless. Their solid black bodies are marked only with a light yellowish orange with white spots above their chests, with star spots somewhere else on their bodies. Some carry curved black blades. Some appear to be searching the area, while others are making hostile advances towards the fleeing farmer. The car is now stopped. Luke urgently unbuckles his seatbelt and jumps out of the car.
Look, what are you doing?
He needs help! Luke starts towards the ranch, where several nobodies look his way and pause. Luke, meanwhile, stops in his track long enough to call back to Casey and Pete. In the background, the farmer safely locks himself inside his house.
Go find that spot! I think they're after it too!
Casey reaches over and picks up the Avi-morphin from the floorboard. See Pete looks at each other as he holding her hands.
Go!
Luke runs towards the farm. Some of the nobodies are banging on the farmer's house, ruining his property. But more of them are noticing Luke approaching. Casey and Pete exchange a concerned glance before Casey drops the Avi-morphin on her lap, rests the steering wheel with both hands, and steps on the gas. Pete is pressed into the backseat as the car accelerates and speeds away. Luke, meanwhile, engages in hand-to-hand combat with the nobodies nearest him. The entire group of nobodies is now fully aware of his presence, tries to surround him with several attacks. Luke is apparently well versed in martial arts, manages to fight them off with moderate success. First time Luke makes contact with a nobody, he grimaces slightly as he looks at his fist, which has a sticky residue from the impact. He continues fighting, each impact making similar squishes. Through the window, the farmer peeks anxiously in the action. He's just for fun, waits for an answer. Eyes remain glued to the screen. The door leading to Dillick's hallway opens and Dillick tresses in.
Well, I sent them, but so they're looking for whatever sending a signal, but I think if I could.
Dillick knows as he loads into the room. As soon as he dawns him, he flies over to the console and begins working. See, there's a close-up of Earth. California Pulse break away to serious waveform graphics and signal analysis. Despite Luke's skill, it becomes apparent that nobodies are too numerous for him to gain the upper hand. Several nobodies grapple him and throw him outside of their cluster. He lands in a field nearby. Some distance behind him, the ground populated with trees sloped down. A nobody extends his hand, projecting an incendiary blast from its fingertips. Luke leaps aside as a large cloud explodes behind him. He lands in a rolling position and looks up as the attacker's determination in his eyes. Dilly's hard work at the center console. Several moments he recoils happily.
I did it! We have video!
Dilly looks around the empty room.
Wow, that's great, Dillick. You've really undone yourself this time. Oh, I thank you. But really, just know that I helped in such a small way. What the heck is it, anyway?
Monitor, we see the same point of view that was shown in Luke's Avi-morphin.
It's just a bunch of rocks.
Casey's car speeds along the road, winding dirt road of trees. Pete is now in the passenger seat. Casey's holding the Avi-morphin in her hand, glancing at his display easily.
Oh man, we should not have left it back there.
Casey stops the car near the top of the quarry. See a wide shot of the quarry below, flowing a long ravine into the distant edge.
Look, this is it.
Looks out the quarry.
But it's different from how I remembered.
Casey places the Avi-morphin into her car's change compartment in the gunner shift. C and Pete unbuckle their seatbelts to get out of the car. Their attention on the quarry below. Luke is stuck in between the trees as he makes his way down a wedge slope. Behind him, the group of nobodies is in pursuit. Casey and Pete are searching on foot along the level of the ground floor.
What are you looking for anyway?
Whatever it is, let's let those creatures in black don't follow us here.
Hey, check that out.
Pete and Casey approached the hoverbird, which floats motionless in air near eye level. As they draw near, it turns to aim its camera at them. They freeze in their tracks. After a moment, Pete takes a step toward it, with his hand cautiously extended. When the hoverbird drifts back, out of his reach, Pete tries to touch it again, less timidly. Almost playfully winds a meandering path in the air, just above his reach. Pete flashed softly in astonishment. Casey's attention, meanwhile, is drawn to the ground. You see Pete through the hoverbird's lens. It's like a good flying camera.
Look at this.
Pete looks down. It's just back to a normal shot of Casey. He's brusting loose gravel off the buried object. Picks it up, feeling it to be a second Avimorpher. He brushes it off, fascinated. Lifts it over and wipes out the dust, revealing an identical Jetman inscription on it. Number 4 above it. Pete gets the sight of the hoverbirds slipping out over their heads, stopping several yards away, eye trained on the ground once again. Casey stands as Pete jogs over to the hoverbird's new location. The hoverbird moves slightly as Pete stops nearby. Reluctant to take his eyes off the hoverbird, nevertheless bends down and produces a third Avimorph from the gravel. Standing, he brushes the dirt off the back plate, revealing Jetman. And the number 3. He looks up and the hoverbird is gone. It looks like Casey is watching him in return. Walks over to her, shaking his Avimorpher like a rubbery conductor's wand. Do you know what this means? Looks around the entire quarry. I think they're mining watches here. Space watches! Dozens of them. Those things in black are trying to get them back. So you let humans get their hands on them.
Luke!
Luke continues to fight nobodies near the ledge above, where there was near the quarry level. Trying to fend off nobodies, Luke is knocked back to the Casey's car nearby. He casts a sight of Avimorpher in his change compartment, leaps over on nobody's blade, landing inside the car. He grabs his Avimorpher and falls over the driver's side door as several nobodies lunge for him. Nobodies that spill around the front and rear ends of the car, surrounding him when he sits on the cliff in front of him. Pete and Casey look up from the below in the middle of the quarry. Pete and Casey are frightened. Luke crosses the cliff. Nobody's on either side of him. Closes his eyes as he fastens the Avimorpher on his left wrist. He holds the morpher near his mouth and speaks boldly, Skyhook! This is nobody's lunge for him. Luke takes a running dive off the edge of the cliff. A red gleaming light envelops him in mid-dive, morphing him into the Red Ranger. Red Ranger spreads its arms, opening wrist-like structures over his arms. He soars down gratefully. Just before he reaches the ground, he pulls up and soars headfirst into several feet, arms out wide. Tillich stands transfixed by the image on the monitor. Trask grabs Tillich's shoulder, leading Tillich up, and escorts him towards the side door, leading to Tillich's highway. I'd like a word with you.
We're gonna miss the action!
Red Ranger lands in front of Pete and Casey. He stands slack-jawed, still holding their Avimorphers.
Luke?
It's all right, guys. I think. You found them. Good. All right. Should put them on in case. Behind him, there was nobodies colliding with the ground, splattered into green puddles of mush. Red Ranger, Pete and Casey startle. Red Ranger turning and holding his arms out, pulls himself between his friends. The nobody puddles. Seeing closer, the puddles gather back into solid masses and reform their humanoid forms. 9 nobodies begin to advance menacingly on the trio. Oh man, this is so messed up. Casey fastens her Avimorpher on and lets rest in silence. Red speaks over his shoulder to Pete and Casey as he takes a step defensively. Guys, listen. Try to get somewhere safe. If you get into trouble, say the code words Sky L and Sky Swan into your morphers. They'll protect you. Protect us? What are you? Before Pete can finish his question, Red Ranger leaps forward. Red Ranger flies headfirst to the crowd of nobodies. And from his perspective, flying towards the ground. As on the other side of them, begins fighting them. Casey and Pete watch in amazement. Red Ranger gets a nobody in an arm lock and calls out to Pete and Casey. Come on, guys, get out of here! Casey and Pete grabs Pete's arm, makes him retreat with her.
Come on!
The modified life support room. Dillick enters the room, anxiously backing away from Trask, who stalks him into the room. Dillick is sticking his hand, holding a green pod slightly smaller than a football behind his back.
No, not my podling. You don't really need it, do you, Trask? He's the last of his kind.
You don't expect Lord Omos to conquer the earth with nobodies, do you? looks around with sarcastic wonder. And I don't see any genetic colonies yet.
Yeah, see, about that. What about some robots? I could build robots, so the plants I found here aren't half bad, and...
That podling isn't down there this second. You will be. He then Dillick hands over the pod to feet. Fleeing to the quarry, Casey and Pete suddenly stop in their tracks. A squad of 5 distal nobot. He's running along the wobbly gate. Casey again grabs Pete's arm and runs in a different direction.
This way! This way!
Casey and Pete nearly stumbled to the nearby ravine. See, earlier be distance out of the quarry. It's dark and deep, pebbles seeming to fall endlessly over the edge. Casey and Pete both go.
That's you.
Casey and Pete look back at their attackers. So from above, the nobodies are advancing dangerously close to the duo, whose heels are nearly to the edge of the ravine. Red Ranger punches the nobody and prepares to leap. Hang on, guys! Red Ranger leaps into the air and comes to his friend's aid. Suddenly, a red tentacle of a claw flies through the air and launches into Red Ranger's neck midair. Grabs him in his hands and fall out of the air. Pete and Casey react to the nearby scene.
Look.
Red Ranger stands, the tentacle still holding his neck. The tentacle seems to be something unseen. Red Ranger yanks on the tentacle, pulling an alien-looking monster named Podling out of an invisible warp. Crackles of blue energy as the monster emerges. Showing close up, Podling growls a slobbering sound. Tentacle connected to his alien mouth. Pete is both transfixed and horrified by the monster off screen. Casey, meanwhile, takes another look at the approaching nobodies. What in the world is that?
Pete, look out!
One of the nobodies extends his hand and fires a series of blasts. His bullets inflames Pete and Casey over the edge of the ravine. In public darkness, yelling all the way. The tentacle still latches onto his neck. Red Ranger calls to his left wrist. Guys, the morphers! Still falling, Casey brings her IV morpher in her mouth and calls out, Sky Swim! Casey is enveloped in a pink gleam, morphing into the Pink Ranger. Pete shouts into his IV morpher as well. Ow! Sky! Ow! With a yellow gleam, Pete morphs into the Yellow Ranger. Pink Ranger glasses his head with right hand. We see their perspective, falling towards the ravine. The camera swoops him upward, flying to the opening. Pete could be heard groaning anxiously. As Red Ranger continues to struggle with the tackle, Yellow and Pink Ranger soar over the cliff behind him, underarm wings open as they holding their hands while they fly. Red Ranger looks back. You did it! Pink and Yellow continue to fly over the quarry, still holding hands.
Pete, we're flying!
This is so wrong.
I feel like I'm dreaming.
Wake up already! Pink Ranger shakes her head. Everyone touches her face. Looks at her hands in costume, effortlessly releasing Yellow Ranger's hand.
No, I mean, I feel real, but something's different. Like it's gonna be okay.
Don't let go! Don't let go! Yellow Ranger falls out of control of the quarry, yelling. Lights as the dead treetops flames its arms and legs, finally coming to a rolling crash on the ground. Pink Ranger saw making a diving leap over the camera. Her arms, underarm wings still open. Pink Ranger lands near Yellow Ranger as he recovers from the fall. She helps him up. Doesn't sell him, makes sure his head is still in one piece.
I'm sorry, you okay?
Yeah, actually. Pink and Yellow looks to the right. A battalion of nobodies draw near. Slightly hesitated. Pink Ranger starts to run the other way, trying to bring Yellow Ranger with her. She passes behind to get away, but he stands his ground. Oh!
Oh, those freaks are still here!
Yellow Ranger clutches his fist, reaches in front of his hand determination. I think we can take these guys. Come on, Casey, you with me? Pink Ranger running away and squealing fit. Nobody's on their heels. One nobody sticks his leg out, tripping her. She falls to the rope but quickly gets to her feet. Then you have it holding her hands fleetly.
No, stay back!
Nobody runs up and slashes Pink Ranger across the chest. Then another one does the same for the other direction. Sorry from a close-up. Yellow Ranger slows to the air by a group of nobodies. Put me down! Nobodies hurl Yellow Ranger. He lands in the arms of a nearby nobody as the air is swarm on the ground. Arms and legs wrapped around the nobody. He pulls his head back, realizing who's holding him. Huh? Nobody's heads light up. Several orange passes as the nobody makes a gurgling sound. Yellow Ranger lets go, yelping. Falls to the ground until the nobody swings a blade. Yellow rolls aside just in time. Red Ranger leaps into the air, spread his wings. Red Ranger then draws a white laser pistol from his right hip and flies through the air over a podling, blasting him with yellow bursts from his laser, sword in hand. Tentacle still fixed to the Red Ranger's neck. Ranger looks over the camera. The tentacle releasing from his neck. His feet shown rebounding off a nearby wall. The Ranger flies over the crop of the crowd. Only sword horizontally with both hands. As a group of nobodies flies to the ground, advances with a liquid black warping effect. On the other side, another group of nobodies slips to the ground, advances with the same effect. Reaches down to the camera, runs to join Yellow and Pink. Turns around, holds his arms to defend him, still holding his sword. The remaining nobodies cluster together and start risen and advance with a black warping effect. Red Ranger relaxes, but looks to his left. Alright! Huh? Growling unintelligibly nearby, Podley rejects a yellow bolt of electricity from his mouth. The Red Ranger stands in front of Yellow and Pink. Large smoke explodes and engulfs them. Podley's growl and blast are shown again. Smoke explodes and engulfs Red and Yellow and Pink. Moments later, Red Ranger is flying towards the clearing smoke, sword in hand. Yellow and Pink are sitting on the ground, watching as the smoke clears behind Red. Podley leaps into the air toward the camera. Red Ranger leaps towards the camera as well, sword ready to strike. The two meet in slow motion in midair, strike each other simultaneously. The mystics is split out with sparks. Both fall back against mutual bursts. The Ranger lands on the floor. Podley leads into a visible warp, which again crackles with clarity as he passes through. Yellow and Pink run over to Red Ranger, who's clutching his red shoulder. As he approaches, Yellow and Pink look around.
You left!
You did, Luke! They're all gone! Yellow and Pink help Red Ranger to his feet as he grows, clutching his right shoulder. Hey, are you alright? Yeah. Power down! A red gleam demorphs Red Ranger back into Luke. His back still to Yellow and Pink. Once it slightly and moves his hand to take his shoulder for entry, but none is seen. Meanwhile, Yellow and Pink are taken back. Whoa, what did you do? Power down? Yellow Ranger demorphs to Pink. He looks at her and speaks, Power down! Pink Ranger demorphs into Pink Gleam into Casey. So he alternates their gaze between Pink and Luke, all of them still wearing their Avi morphers. Pete, Luke, and Casey approach the edge, looking off in the distance beyond the laser ravine. Elevated view, showing the ravine stretching into the distance. Large scar dug into the deep of the quarry into neighboring hoods. Fissures punctuated by a mound of broken trees in the ground, shaped in a triangular crater. So something large came to rest here and decided to slice the earth. The word constant, however, is now gone. He stayed transfixed before it seen before them.
So, anything you wanted to tell us?
No, but there's something I need to show you. We open a close-up of a monitor in central console. It shows the hoverboard's vantage point from above the tree level, someone below, and a scared Luke. Fled for the nobodies through the woods. Cannot be seen clearing from the distance. The vertical time code in the corner of one screen can be seen, rapidly cutting through the frames of the recording. While it does not necessarily indicate minutes and seconds. In the monitor, frames flash by too quickly to discern, but being fast forward. Seeing the hoverboard's elevated, somewhat distant angle of Luke, cornered by nobodies. It's like Casey's car to Corey Lawrence. Shows him leaping off and morphing. He stares so clearly from the hoverbird's angle. More frames flash by, and the time code begins jumping ahead. We see the hoverbird's elevated angle into Pink and Yellow Rangers, running to help Red Ranger lay on the quarry in the ground. This is beginning to help him up. The hoverbird suddenly swerves away and darts into the sky. Casey touches the cloud, the only indication of velocity. See Dillick manning the console and wrapped in the video. So, your podling is off licking its wounds. Beaten by a human. And your nobody failed. Why, with all this failure, you'd think we were busy upgrading a wormhole generator. And yet, you aren't!
I did come across this.
As Nero's eyes monitors begin turning his head. Seeing the monitor shows a freeze frame of the hoverbird's perspective of Luke, looking out towards the apartment window of the camera. Face shown clearly. Travis' posture stiffens. He breathes slowly before speaking. Find him. To be continued.
Well, this did play out like an episode. And it does make me wonder, if Micah was so intent on making Starfleet a TV series, why not just make it script format? I mean, I wouldn't like it, It still would have the flaws of character and etc., but the overuse of stock footage for the attacks be less painful. Still, a great adaptation of one of my favorite Sentai. One down, thousands more to go, but join us next week when we'll proceed to take a look at another adaptation of Jetman. See you then!